So it's looking like the episode's going to be like an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm all right with that. That's not super long.
Honestly, I think the bread conversation actually took maybe 5 of those minutes anyways.
I
So
know. It's the bread conversation, which the bread conversation would have been literally perfect for the opening. We had two discussions that would have been perfect for the opening or the bonus, and we ended up
but
just
what
having
if
the show.
but what if we put this conversation that's happening right now at the beginning as a teaser for what's going to happen in the episode?
I think you're.
Stay tuned
I think
for
you're asking me to do that just so that I don't put in the part about both of us being fat and putting our legs in the underpants at the same time.
I mean, you can do that. That's fine. It's the internet. Who
I don't think I
cares?
can because I think we both said.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah. Welcome to another horrible gaming podcast. With me is,
Neil, aka Tiny Wizard.
and as usual, before we get into it, we're just going to talk about some disclaimers and credits. Number one disclaimer, we're doing this out of our basement on Zoom, so keep that in mind. You're definitely going to hear my child in the background, although from what I understand, everybody likes my child probably better than us, so we should probably just start doing a podcast where she just talks into the mic for 20 minutes. And then credits. First of all, Mark Bell, thank you for all of the original graphics you see on this show. Those are all his doing for this and all of our other shows on Old Man Gaming. And then, of course, my brother, big thanks to him for the music on this and all of the shows on this channel. We are officially producing his music and very happy about that partnership. So happy, I've already fought a battle for him on the copyright front. It's good stuff.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
And we like to start with fan interaction. That's where we hear from you guys, the fans. All the stuff. We read out your comments. We use your comments to decide our horrible arena winner. And usually we ask you a question for you guys to answer to us. So we're going to start it off with the horrible arena. And I think it's actually going to you, Neil. Your ridiculous robot thing, I think, took it.
Nice.
So we're going to go through the votes. First, Kayla S. And just going to her vote. I'm going to find her vote because we'll come back to this in a little bit. As much as it would be hilarious to play Project Binary, my vote realistically has to go for Zach's pitch. I would absolutely love to play that. Thank you, Kayla. Your sensibility knows no bounds. And then we gotta fish through the thousands of comments from Kev that we love and appreciate. the vote one. My Neil gets my vote for the dating sim game, so that's 1-1. And then the tiebreaker was Phil Billy. My vote for Horrible Arena goes to Neil, as I strongly dislike all life simulator type games, as I live a real life and don't need it in a game. And Neil's game seems to spoof on that. Laugh out loud. We appreciate your vote, Phil Billy, even if it did not get me the win. It will, however, get Neil the win. Neil takes the Horrible Arena for this week.
Very nice.
I just need to find my notes. Mark that down.
Fabulous.
Okay. So, Horrible Arena out of the way. Let's get into some normal comments. First of all, the question to you guys was, what don't you like about us? Not everybody decided to chime in, but you know who did chime in immediately? That's right, Phil Billy. Question of the week answer: yo face, spelled yo. Well done, Phil Billy. To which I responded, that's fair. I do not like my face either. It's a rather disheveled and shambled thing. So then Kayla also answered this question and had just a range of comments that we're going to read now. I know I listened to a random range of things, but dang, I didn't think I could confuse the stats. She's speaking, of course, about being listed as non-binary. The question of the week, she answers, Zach, your distaste of Sims. She does not like that. That's fair. That's fair. I know it's your favorite game. Then she says, and Neil, your hesitation and dislike of new things, exclamation point. Sometimes new is good. It is, Neil. It is. Sometimes new is good. Sometimes new is good. Then she also said, I also declare Stella has to be part of the Foundation for now. Kayla, I don't think I disagree with you. I think Stella somehow finds her way onto every show that we have on the channel. I think one day I'm going to gift her the channel. She'll be the new Old Man Gaming. It won't really make sense, will it? Then we had Kev Too Tall. Some of us didn't pick you. We were turned into indentured servants, speaking about the whole fearless leader thing. Legally, I am free. I am of free mind and body. I choose to listen and watch on my own. The servitude is just an ongoing joke between longtime friends. Smiley face. Damn straight, Kev. He then says, we are rapidly approaching the year of horrible. All hail Supreme Leader. That's true. We're only 8 shows away. 8 shows away from a full year of shows. He then said, I provide content by commenting. As long as you keep reading the malarkey I write here, thank you for appreciating my contribution to Old Man Gaming, with a little sunglasses emoticon, to which I said, thank you for contributing, sir. It is most appreciated. We love it when people comment. He then said, haters gonna hate and promote you better than the likes sometimes, referring to our hater last week. And I can't disagree with that. He then said, I will never wear a tinfoil hat. I feed off theories. They make my brain churn vigorously looking at all the options and angles. You know what? I think the same thing, Kevin. Everybody else is telling me I got the tinfoil hat on, but it's like I feel like I see the Matrix when it comes to these theories. I can't believe you let that go without making a comment, Neil.
I honestly was trying to figure out what it is to say to that. I mean, that you can see the Matrix.
I'm like Joey Pants. I don't even see the code. I just see woman in a red dress.
You're the dude in the second movie sitting in the chair watching the monitors.
Yep.
God, it's been so long since I've seen those movies. I can't remember what his name was.
Kev Too Tall. My arena vote was meant for Zach, not this week, the last week when there was some question, and he said Neil let me down by the Nintendo thing because they showed us how great a make your own game level could be, and we know Nintendo isn't afraid to wait for putting out a complete product. Then he said, when was the last time Nintendo launched a game that took the first month to fix any problems? Nintendo does sit and wait on launching and announcing titles. It's what they've always have done. And hey, I'm not disagreeing with you. That's what I said. I think they sit on them way longer than we think they do, though. And then that was the end of the Kevin torrent. And then we scroll up to Phil. And that's it. That's all your comments. Wonderful. Thank you guys for all your comments, and we appreciate them. And just anybody else reading, if you comment, we will read them. We enjoy reading them. What don't you like about the show, Neil? About us?
You know what? I think mine is more personally for me. I hate my voice.
Oh, no.
I hate my voice. For anyone listening and who has not seen me before, I'm 6'3", like 350 pounds, and I swear sometimes I sound like a squeaky toy. Like, I don't know, like, I've been told my voice is fine. I've actually won a karaoke competition before.
Oh,
I
want
don't
to hear you sing. We're going to do karaoke when the pandemic is over now. I just want to let you know that. You've opened that.
Well, here's the thing, too. I was screwing around with audio stuff last night just to because I'm so paranoid about my voice. This is a new thing that you're going to learn right now. I'm so paranoid about my voice that I actively, the night before, try to sit down and tweak my audio settings
Oh my god.
any way that I can to make myself sound better.
You and Phil, both of you guys are like this. I don't know why. Your voices are fine. There's nothing wrong with your voices. You're
I don't
both
know.
fine.
But like I just for fun last night, I was trying out. I got new headphones for this and everything, and I was listening to some music on it, and I had the recorder going. So I was just like, just for fun, I was gonna sing the song. I'm like, okay, I thought I did okay. I go back through and play it back. Oh, sweet Christ. I wanted to smash my computer. Like, it's like, that's bad. How can anybody think that's good? And I even said something to Kayla about it last night, and she was like, you have a great voice. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, you're biased. You're married to me. You have to say
You have to say that. Look, dude, you sound fine. You really do. Both you and Phil really sound fine. If you didn't, I would be giving you notes. I wouldn't just put out crap. I mean, I guess I do name everything horrible, but if you guys sounded absolutely terrible, I would tell you guys. Seriously. We got to do a bit of housekeeping though before we wrap up the fan interaction. And I have this one to say real quick. My GameStop got closed down suddenly, like in the middle of the night. It's just gone. It was never there. Like the sign has been removed. There's Howard Hanna signs in the window. It just never came back from the pandemic. It was very strange. Like one day I drove by, there was stuff inside still, and then I went shopping the other day and it was just gone. So the reason I want to bring this up is the guys and girls that worked at the GameStop shop on 59 in Stowe, the Stowe store on State Route 59. You guys were amazing, and I know at least 2 of you subscribed to my channel, and you probably did that just to be nice. But if for some reason you guys are listening, comment below and contact us. Let us know you're going okay, and let me know what store you went to, because that's the store I want to give my business to. I was very frustrated that this was gone. This was my favorite store, and I've been to a lot of GameStops. I've never met a crew in the GameStop better. In my opinion, like JP was the guy I remember the name of. I'm sorry, the other people I have not remembered the name. Please forgive me for that. But you know who you are. I always came in with Stella, who would try to get behind the counter and run into your back storeroom. You guys were always very sweet and nice to her. I'm very sorry that store is closed. And if you guys are listening to this for whatever reason, comment below. Tell me where you guys are so that I can come to that shop, and I hope you guys are doing okay. Final housekeeping. This show is changing schedule. I know we just released an OMFD. It's bad timing, unfortunately, but some schedules have changed. So what's going to be happening is this podcast will now air on Wednesdays instead of Borderlands 330. Borderlands 330 will air on Fridays. The audio will come out on Tuesdays, and we will be recording on Mondays should you want to answer questions or whatever. So next week, just so you guys know, I mean, this is going up on a Friday, but next week it'll go up on a Wednesday. So if you want to get those comments in or you want to vote, you got to do it faster this week, and I'm sorry about that, but schedules change. We had to move some stuff around. We got to roll with the punches here, and that's just the way it's going to be. So one last time, podcast airs on Wednesday next week. Audio goes up on Tuesday of next week. Borderlands 330 goes up on Friday of next week. All right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so our first topic is a topic we are excited about and maybe a little nervous about. Outriders, the game from Square Enix. They had their first Outriders broadcast, which they are doing monthly shows, internet streams, showing you more and more of the game, which I appreciate. I like that. I don't like that we don't have a date yet. I think we're going to talk about that. But, yeah, I like that we're getting some information about this game. And it's nice to get excited about it. So Neil, who is not a games as service person, I really, the first thing I want to hone in on this one, okay, is, and you, I know you didn't watch the stream itself. You just got kind of like clips later.
Yeah.
But one of the things they did at the end is they have this like Q&A with one of the main designers. He just answers questions he takes off Twitter. And one of the questions bothers me a little bit, and I want to start on this. He assures everybody that it is not a games as service. And I am having a hard time understanding what games as service is anymore. Because all of these, I feel like all these companies want to distance themselves from the term, but there's still games as service. Like, first of all, any game that gets a steady stream of patches and DLC post-launch is a games as service. I don't care what anybody says. It's a service. They're providing you a service. You can call it not a games as service all you want. I think games as service has gotten a bad, kind of the same as loot boxes. It's gotten a bad taste with it because some people have abused it. And now, like, everybody wants to call their game something else, but it's just going to be another term for the same thing. That being said, he assures us it's not a games as service. So personally, I think they're probably just trying to avoid the term. But like, how does a game like this work if it's not games as service? I mean, I hate to go negative right off the bat, but that kind of bothered me a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think it's something along the lines of the comparison that I drew in that regard is Borderlands 3. Because even though Borderlands 3 has those games as service-y sort of elements to it, it's not a full-on games as service. Like, you have a comprehensive campaign mode that is, I want to say it was something around like 20 plus hours long, something in that regard for Borderlands 3.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. What does a 20-plus hour campaign have to do with whether or not it's a games as service?
Well,
this is something that's frustrating to me. Borderlands 3 is 100% a games as service. I don't care what Gearbox tells you. I don't care what anybody else tells you. They have bi-monthly events. They have a constant stream of DLC, and they also are constantly hot-fixing and patching it. That is a games as service. This game is a games as service. It's Destiny. It works. The only difference between it and Destiny is Destiny gives you more content on a weekly basis or whatever. And probably the story isn't as prevalent. Still, like, what's the difference there? Why are you saying, and I'm sorry I'm coming at you a little bit aggressive. I don't mean to. I'm just very frustrated with this right now. Like, I just, like, all these companies are like, it's not a games as service. Okay, the problem I think even you would say you have with games as service is not a game that perpetually supplies a service to you, which is what a games as service is. It's all these companies that dribble all this bullcrap in it, like the stuff that Anthem did, and even the stuff that Destiny did in the beginning, is like stuff where they don't give you a complete experience right away, you know? Like, so I'm sorry. I'm ranting a little bit. I'm very frustrated about this whole games as service thing, and it's bothering me because you're telling me it's not a games as service, so that means I play this story and I'm done?
So when I think of a games as service, I think of something that is always online, like you have to play it online, like Destiny, Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, along those lines. And there are constantly things occurring, like events online happening, like that just pop up, you know, here and there, like these strikes and stuff like that. Borderlands 3, you can play that game in its entirety offline. You don't have to have any sort of online connectivity. The stuff that they add into Borderlands 3 is always in the form of an update, you know, a fix, stuff like that. Their events, their strikes, DLC.
And you can turn the events off. You couldn't in the beginning. But you can turn the events off. Still, okay, so you're saying to me that games as service is a game that is always online and just constantly doing something.
Yeah.
Okay.
An update is an update. Like a hot fix is a hot fix. It's, you know, it's fixing, balancing, stuff like that. That is just maintenance of a game.
Okay. Yeah, but maintenance of a game is a service. Like that's the service you get nowadays. Like I don't feel like that's okay.
I
There's a
mean,
game that came out recently. It's called Greedfall. It was from Spiders. It was
yeah.
kind of like a weird fantasy, almost a revolutionary time type game. It was very good. I did a review on it. I say go check it out. But it is a non-games as service game. They made a game. They gave you the game. There is no DLC and nothing afterwards. That's the game. That's not a games as service to me.
Oh yeah,
Every
no,
game
that's
nowadays is a games as service because they are supplying a service to you. If somebody is working in an office somewhere on a game that they have already released, that's a service for you. Like that.
yeah.
I'm really having a hard time with the terminology, I guess, and I'm really having a hard time with people being so against the terminology. Like I understand what you're saying and why you don't like Destiny. I'm not trying to like come at you, but like at the same time, just because other companies are doing like the other thing is too, Outriders is always online. They've already said it's always online.
Okay, see, I didn't get that part.
So how are you going to say
so then,
it's
yeah,
not,
that's
right? How are you going to say
it's
it's
definitely
not games of service if it's always online?
And honestly, to pull back, because we were starting to get into that conversation that you and I know that we've always wanted to avoid. But
I don't know that we want to avoid it. It's just I don't know that we could do it. You know what I mean? Like
I still maintain that we could do it. I think we could get away with doing it. It would be a whole episode. But anyways, you
know what we would need? We need a ref. That's what we
would need a ref. Yes,
we would need a ref to make sure that we don't just yell the same stuff at each other over and over again. Like we would need to like do a debate, like like a ruled debate.
But to steer us back to Outriders, I mean, yeah, if you're gonna have a game connected online all the time, that is one thing for me that's like an automatic qualifier for a games as service. If you have to be connected online all the time to play a game, like that is a games as service. You are essentially, you need online. They need to know what you're doing all the time to throw stuff in here and there.
Right. And here's the thing. I like that because I like that constant. I like the idea of constantly going on and getting something new. My problem is that they just keep saying it's not a games as service. And I don't want to pay $60 for a game that doesn't get DLC, that doesn't get add-ons. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's the wrong messaging. And we both know that game's going to get DLC, you know, at the very least. But, like, I don't know. Aside from that, let's talk. That was kind of the negative. I didn't want to open negative, but I've just been so upset by the whole games as service thing. Like I watched that stream. I was actually very excited. I thought the stream was really good. And then when he said that, I was like, why? Why would you say
the biggest thing that I gleaned from that it's one thing that I just could not stop noticing all the time.
Okay.
Like the combat looked interesting. The classes, how they interact, the things, basically it's like you got a class that is, you know, to your play style. For me, it sounds like that I would be the trickster class because I love getting all up in there, even in shooters.
They did a deep dive on the trickster class on the stream, and I know you didn't see that, but that trickster class looks like so much fun, so much fun.
But I cannot get over the animations for everything.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe this is a weird thing for me. It almost looks over animated, or like there's too many frames, either too many frames of animation or the animation seems so slow. Like whenever you were stabbing somebody with a stalactite with the one class, I forget what it was. Was it the Devastator class?
Devastator, I think.
Yeah, like you go and you do the race. Like
I thought it looked beautiful.
They raise up and their whole body just kind of flubs and flows, and like the whole animation takes way longer than it seems to need to be. And I feel like in a shooter, especially in a shooter, that you need to be, it's a lot more fast paced. Maybe they're going for a slower, more deliberate style of game. If that's the case, cool. But it just kind of, it was jarring for me. I couldn't get over that when I watched it.
Well, it would make sense if it's a little bit slower, because it does kind of look like, it looks like Division elements are really prevalent in this game from like the standpoint of covering and the guns and whatnot. I'm surprised by the animation. I don't know if I can. What? Well, you're gonna have to wait. Sorry. Yeah, I think you still got a piece of bread upstairs. This is all on the show. You realize this, right?
Oh my god, I love bread so much.
Dude, my kid, and this is on the show. I don't know why we're doing this right now, but she will only eat brioche bread. But she eats it with nothing else on it. Just eats brioche bread. It's the weirdest thing.
You know
she
what?
Loves it.
For my 11th birthday, my aunt got me a loaf of sourdough bread. That's how much I love bread. And I will tell you, I destroyed that whole loaf of sourdough bread.
Did you put anything on the bread, though?
No!
No! You just ate sourdough bread?
Oh, yeah!
Oh,
it's
my
great!
God.
I love
my
bread.
Kid have a lot in common. I have a hard time getting her to eat other stuff. I'm like, you can't just live on bread. It's just not possible.
Stella, don't listen to him. It is possible.
Okay, back to Outriders. I can't back you on the animation thing. I thought it looked beautiful. I didn't have any problems with the animation. I loved the way they presented the combat. I think that's really cool. The guy said that the guns that were shown to them weren't really, like, they didn't have a good feel, and they weren't really special. Like, they weren't over-to-the-top Destiny stuff or Borderlands stuff, and they didn't have the good feel of the Division stuff. So, but he also said that it seemed like the combat seemed to be more focused on the character's special abilities, with the guns just kind of offsetting that. So,
yeah,
that's kind of interesting. The other concern that IGN had that I kind of have is they haven't shown us any open world stuff yet. They've shown us the fighting, which is good, and I don't think anybody's going to argue that it looks good. I mean, obviously you have a problem with the animation, but on a whole it looks good. And they've shown us some of the build stuff, which I'm going to tell you right now, Phil Billy is salivating for. But they have not shown us any of the open world stuff. I want to see how big this is. You know what I mean? And how, like how many areas we have. I think at this point, you've got us sold on the fighting and the builds. I want to see how big this is. Is this Anthem sized? Is this Destiny sized? Like, how do you go from area to area? Is it just a big perpetual world? Or are you moving from place to place? Like that's what I want to see right now. I want to see the size of this thing at this point.
Yeah, the size and what's in there. I mean, given the fact that it's going to be, I don't care what they're saying. They can call it not a game as a service all they want, but the fact that they require an online connection, it's going to be a games as a service. Yeah. And that's where I'm going to start to branch off, because God. I feel like the second that you say, it's always online, stuff like that, I get this terrible feeling that a lot of their content is going to come from events that are happening in the game. Like,
what's wrong with that?
Random timed events.
What is wrong with that, you weirdo?
The same
Why
crap.
Don't you want perpetual content from a game? It's the weirdest thing. Your arguments with games as service. Like, if you were like,
it's the same crap over and over again. It's like, hey, this same area, there's this robot thing. Kill the robot thing. Well, is it different than the last time I did? Well, no, but there will be different people, and you might get different stuff. Okay, well, I'll do it again. All right.
Dude,
well, what else is there?
Somebody forced you to play Destiny all the wrong way. That's what happened. That's what happened. That games as service hurt you, I feel like.
But at the same time, I've never liked. I hate World of Warcraft. I hate Elder Scrolls Online. I'm not a big fan of Fallout 76.
Well,
that's
one guy I know.
That is true. I mean, I got a friend of mine too who's on it all the time. If you like it, you like it. I'm not going to knock you.
Dude, this guy just wants to play so bad. I'm like, I can't. I played it once for a review. It was not good. I don't know. Like, I love him to death. If you're listening, man, you know who you are. And I don't know how you put that much hours into that game. This dude, he is always playing that game. He bought Borderlands 3. He played it twice, and now I just see him playing that game over, right back to 76. I'm like, I don't know how you are playing that game that much. Like,
oh my God, yeah,
blows my mind. All right. Well, aside from your proclivities to games as service, I mean, I think your problem with games as service isn't necessarily that it's a games as service or that it's always online, which your problem is what the people have put in front of you. And I'm not going to argue there are a lot of games as service out there that people have put crap in front of us, and that's a bummer. But like, I really can't wait for a game that like puts something amazing in front of you. Also, Division 2 was really well done. Like there was plenty of stuff to do in that are very different. Like everything you do has kind of like a different through line. That I can understand though that game wouldn't draw you to it, but that was a game that did it right, I think. All right. Well, I think we've talked about it. I'm still very excited about the game, though. I feel like we've been a little overtly negative on it.
I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like from what I've seen, like I kind of want to. Like I would give it a shot just to see what it's like.
I think it's a real sleeper of the holiday season. Honestly, I think it's a real sleeper. I don't think it's going to win any Game of the Year awards, but I think it's a real sleeper because Destiny 2 is real waning. People are starting to finally walk away from that. Borderlands 3 is, I know it's not technically a games of service, but it is. And people have been walking away from that for a while now. I think you've got this kind of open hole, and Anthem was a train wreck. I think you've got this hole for a really nice, like meaty games of service shooter that just doesn't exist right now. And I don't see any on the wings, like unless I'm forgetting one. Like there's none in production that's going to come out, whereas this one it's going to hit that mark. And even though you've got a loaded holiday season this year because of everything that happened, it's in a genre by itself and a genre that kind of needs a winner right now.
Yeah, it could come in and fill in a void that people have been looking for.
Yeah, I think it could really drag some people over from some other games, and I hope it does I hope it's good because I'm very excited for it. So I definitely will be watching the broadcast to see what else that game presents to us, though.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
So it actually sounds like we have some sort of confirmation now, finally, from Jim Ryan himself of Sony, that the PS5 is going to be expensive. He did an interview recently, and a quote that came out of that interview that it basically confirms that. I think the best way that we can address this is by providing the best possible value proposition that we can. I don't necessarily mean lowest price. Value is a combination of many things. In our area, it means games, it means number of games, depth of games, breadth of games, quality of games, price of games, etc. All these things and how they avail themselves the feature set of the platform. That's a really odd way that he ended that quote.
Oh,
but
my God.
Anyways, so yeah, we know now,
like just that quote itself.
Like, I honestly, he's confirming what we knew. He does later in the article kind of allude to the fact that given everything that's going on in the world, that there is kind of maybe an issue like with what their price point is going to wind up being.
Yeah.
Overall, I have no problem paying more for a PS5 if the games are there. The PS4 games, I don't care about the power of the system. I honestly, the games that I have played on the PlayStation 4 are exactly what I'm looking for. Right. God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, things like that all have that very narrative-driven, high-quality production value. But I mean, again, we're playing this dance. Nobody knows how much these consoles are gonna cost. Nobody has any real idea. I mean, GameSpot did an article where they just asked their staff on prices for next-gen consoles and see what they thought. And overall, the Xbox Series X seemed to float around $500.
Yep.
Well, the
You're
PS5...
buying dinner.
Honestly, I before I finish this, I will be I will be happy to buy you dinner. I would love that. Will be the best dinner that I have ever bought, because that thing would be a powerhouse for an okay price.
Yeah.
But then continuing on with the article, they seem to think that the PS5 was going to be somewhere around $450 to $500 as well. I mean, I think that really would sound about right. You know, given everything, like if Sony's going to have a weaker console tech-wise, then, you know, these special parts that they're using, it would make sense for them to charge $500, especially if the Series X is going to be $500.
Okay.
But yeah, I honestly, like, at this point, we're still just kind of dancing around what's going to happen. Nobody knows. We were going to have that event for the games this Thursday, I believe it was, but that's since been canceled. But I don't know.
More power to them for canceling that.
Yeah, that was
solidarity with that. There's too much going on in the world to do a gaming expo. I get that.
Absolutely. But yeah, in regards to Jim Ryan's comments, what do you got?
Okay, first of all, you know, it's the same thing rehashed on the games of service where we were just talking about. I am so sick of video game CEO and developer speak that it makes me want to vomit. Just say you're having problems, or just say it's going to be more expensive and we think the games are worth it. I'm so sick of them trying to tell me what value is. Oh, God. Like, if he was in a room with me, I would consider punching him in the face. Like, just so arrogant the way he put that. But And that's not just him. I mean, everybody does this. It's the same, like we were talking off the break about surprise mechanics from EA. Like, they always want to try and define it to you like you're an idiot. Okay. All right. That aside. That aside, it's a bummer if they have to jack the price up because of what's happening in the world. But yeah, I mean, if they come out at the same price as Xbox, they're going to lose this generation. Like,
you know, I there was a point where I would have agreed with you a little bit more than I do, but like the idea of I kind of agree to some degree what he's saying, that, you know, value is kind of quantified by different people, you know, and for me, like, the Series X is going to come out with no exclusives right out of the gate. We already know that's going to be a thing. So off the top, that on its own, if I have two consoles at the same exact price, why am I...
Halo's an exclusive.
Yeah, Halo's an exclusive for Microsoft, but they've already said it's not going to be a Series X exclusive. I can play that on my Xbox One S right now. I don't need to go out and buy a Series X. Now, if you want to be an early adopter, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But from what I've seen with early adoption in a lot of tech spaces, there's always that first month where it's always kind of up in the air and there's issues and this, that, and the other thing.
I get that. I'm sorry.
Overall, no, you're fine. I was just going to say, like, overall in general, like I said, if I have the Series X and the PlayStation 5 sitting next to me for the exact same $500 price, and I can choose one of those things, I'm going to go straight for the PS5 right out of the gate, because I already know that they're going to have games exclusive to it. I already know what sort of games that they're going to be putting out for it. The Series X isn't even, like, necessarily, like, a thing that you have to have for next gen just yet. I mean, it's got a lot of interesting features that are great, but again, like, I don't need to upgrade my system. If I still had my original Xbox One, the big black brick,
which I do,
then yeah. Like, somebody like you, like, that would absolutely make sense. But we've since upgraded to the S.
I think it's a preference thing, too, because if I'm looking at them at a $500 price point, there's no world in which I pick the PS5. They don't have anything for me as a gamer that I want. That's not necessarily insulting them. I'm not trying to. I'm saying, like, a personal preference thing. Like, I don't want Last of Us. I don't want a game like that. I don't want to play that. I don't like I'm getting less and less enamored with narrative game and more just shut up and let me do the thing that I want to do. I don't care about the brothers and the uncles or whatever. I just want to like hunt the monsters, or I just want to shoot the things. Like that's why I'm playing a game. And again, personal preference. That's a personal preference thing. There are tons of people out there who like those narrative, like story-driven sort of situations, and there are very few of those. Less and less of those are my thing. So like, I'm definitely picking the Xbox. Here's the thing though. What if the PlayStation 5 is more than that? What if it's $550? If you're sitting there looking at the PlayStation 5 at $550 and the Xbox Series X at $500, are you paying the extra $50 for the PlayStation 5?
Honestly, though, like if I were in the same exact situation and there's the Xbox Series X for $500 and the PlayStation 5 for $550, I have $500 right now and can get the Series X, I honestly would come back in 2 weeks after I get a paycheck and spend that extra $50 because, again, Microsoft has not given me a reason to get the Series X.
Okay.
If they had come out of the gate and been like, okay, exclusives, we've got all these exclusives coming to the Series X, like I keep going back to the well, but I have a perfectly fine Xbox One S downstairs.
I mean, I understand on a logical standpoint where you're coming from. Like, I really do. I don't want gaming to be that way anymore, though. I'm so sick of exclusives. I don't want it to be, I have to get the new thing or I can't play the new games. I don't want that. I just don't. I don't even want it that I can't get the PlayStation 5 games and PlayStation 5 people can't get our games on either system. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of that level of looking at things that like, I understand what you're saying. Like, Xbox is not saying that you need anything, but I will go with Xbox because they don't have anything. Because they say, hey, you can play it wherever, man. We just want you to play our stuff.
And
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was just going to say that whole thought process and mentality of, the breaking down the walls of exclusivity is what's given such rise to the PC master race. You have your PC, you can just swap out components every few years and you can still play stuff. But again, there are still going to be things that are locked down to specific consoles.
And there's drawbacks to PCs too. I mean, a lot of the games you don't get them right away. On top of that, you have to spend a gazillion dollars in the beginning, and I don't have that kind of money. I just don't.
Right.
But I still think I understand where you're coming from. I don't like that. I feel like PlayStation 5 is being forced into giving us backwards compatibility. Like, the way they've kind of presented everything is kind of like, all right, we'll give you some backwards compatibility. Like, they just don't, I don't know, they don't seem to listen as well, which is really weird, in my opinion. But they don't seem to listen to people as well. And I do think they're in kind of a crappy situation just with everything going on. I think they're definitely more affected by it than Microsoft is. Somehow. I don't understand that either. Phil Spencer, where are you keeping the people that you have, like, kidnapped to make these boxes? Like what basement or dungeon do you have all these people in making you Xbox Series X's?
Well, I think a lot of it is parts shortage. I mean,
right. But that's the thing. How is Xbox not hurt by that?
I mean, I think it's the parts that are being used. I mean,
well, that's possible. It's still
Microsoft has their PC background as it is, so they're not using anything proprietary. You look at Nintendo; they're already having Switch part shortages. That's why nobody can get their hands on Switches. Yep. And they've already said that the PS5 is using stuff that is leaps and bounds that's proprietary and leaps and bounds ahead of what's available on PC currently. Now, eventually, of course, that's going to change.
Yeah.
But here, present day 2020, those are issues facing manufacturing of these consoles.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the price goes, like, like just to move on.
Yeah.
As far as the price goes, I don't want to speculate too much because we're in that conversation again where we don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody's still really not telling us anything. So like we can only talk about it so much. I think it's interesting to just look at the way everybody's doing stuff, and just as me personally, like I will probably be getting a Series X if I can afford it with a new TV, sons of bitches. But if I can, right off the bat, and that will be because I have a gaming channel. But I like the idea that I could just keep buying the games for my system. You know what I mean? Or if I didn't have a gaming channel, I'd just be an old guy with a kid. I would probably just buy a 1X or a 1S when it came down on price, because I would still get access to all the games for the next couple of years. And while I see your point that that's not going to cause the sales to go in the favor of the Series X over the PS5, I appreciate that from that standpoint. And so if I have the money, I'm going to spend it on the people who allowed me to do that in the first place. I don't know. And that's just me. I know that's not everybody, but I see where you're coming from. Very logically, but yeah, I don't know. I think we've covered this. Unless you got anything else to say about it, we can move on to odds and ends.
No, I think that's about good.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That brings us to our new segment that we actually managed to have time for again somehow, even though we decided to talk about bread during the Outriders subject.
Hey,
odds and ends. We like to talk about just stuff that caught our eye, stuff that isn't big enough to be like a full subject, but just stuff we want to mention, maybe chat about real quick. So that's what this segment is. It's odds and ends. So Neil, why don't you start us off, man?
All right. Well, this news actually came out last week, but a little bit more information has been available for it. There's apparently a Kingdom Hearts series in development over at Disney Plus. Apparently they want to go ahead, and it's not live action or anything. They do want to use the Unreal Engine 4. So they're basically going to make it in the game engine that the game was made in. So I think that's going to look all right, or at least the third game, that is. I think it's going to be interesting.
I think it's never going to come out. I think they're just going to keep pushing it back.
Well, here's the okay. I thought you were being serious for a second, and I see what you're doing now. I see what you're doing, asshole.
They're just going to keep releasing collections that lead up to it.
Well, what I find interesting about this is apparently they've already been eyeing Angelina Jolie and Will Smith for the series itself. And it sounds like they're going to cast them in their roles that they have played in Disney movies. So Angelina Jolie played Maleficent in those movies, and Will Smith was the genie in the Aladdin remake. So, I mean, if this is true and they're actually starting to talk to these A-list stars, I think that they very well could be on their way to doing something. I mean, I again, being a fan of the series, I'm expecting dumb delays and stupid prequel collections and this, that,
Everybody
and the
out
other
there,
thing.
Me and Neil have been friends for some time, at least Facebook friends for a very long time. Neil is a big Kingdom Hearts fan, and anytime he would post something on Facebook about Kingdom Hearts, I would troll him about it being vaporware and then it's never coming out, whatever it was. It went on for like 10 years, I think.
Yes.
I was so depressed when they released Kingdom Hearts 3 because it would make my day. Every time you posted something, I'd be like, this game is never coming out. Just make my day. So yeah, that's kind of an inside joke. I just want to explain to everybody.
Yeah, but so yeah, there's that. They also, Take-Two CEO also says that Google Stadia overpromised on the tech for the system. You think? Like, literally, we don't even have to say anything else about it. Like, are you kidding me?
Mic drop. Are you nuts?
Obviously. I mean, they're giving them away to anybody who just gets internet.
It's
Nobody
like,
wants it, and they're still trying to have these directs and stuff,
oh
and I guess
man.
they're just trying to save face in that regard. But God, come on, guys. um,
Okay.
Also, in annoying news, Death Stranding has been considered successful.
What?
Yeah, sales
No.
numbers came out, and
So bad.
apparently it has been considered profitable. And Kojima's already toiling away on his next dumpster fire.
Well, he already said he scrapped a big one.
Yeah,
That was
he
in the
that
news. He scrapped a big project. I
whatever
wish
it
he would just scrap
was.
his career at this point.
I
I'm so
I think I don't think that he's a bad developer. I think he needs to be a bit more humble because
that's
he relishes in what people make him out to be.
and that's the thing. Like that's my problem with him is he is really into his own hype. Like nobody thinks he's more prolific than he does, and that's the problem. And that's where we're just going to keep getting more and more lofty garbage thrown at us like that game. And I didn't play it, so I can't really say it's bad, but it really looks bad to me.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, do I get one in there?
Oh yeah, go ahead, throw it in there. I only have one more anyway.
I love
So
it. Like the one time you didn't have any, and since then you've just had like you showed up to the table every time.
it's
You're
like
got
I
a
said,
fucking egg carton of these things.
I wasn't even prepared that first time, and now I literally take notes.
I want to know what your thoughts are on the ongoing rumors that of like Sega and Xbox partnership.
Uh, I mean, it could be like them developing what? Because I heard rumors floating around that apparently Sega wanted to get back into the console market at some
Yeah.
point. I think that would be a just nightmare at this point. I mean, Atari's trying to. Apparently, that VCS is coming out this month or something, from what I saw.
What?
Yeah, just like out of the
God.
blue, or like they're gonna start production on it or something. But like even that, like who cares at this point? People who had an Atari, I mean, yeah, sure, I would be interested in owning a VCS just because it's gonna have the old Atari games built on it. But they're gonna try to make it like an actual platform. No,
Well,
get
here's the thing with bringing a new console out at this particular in this day and age. What are you bringing to the table? Because you get your narrative driven, very console feely game out of PS, out of the Sonys. You get kind of like more of a games as service kind of feel from the Series X. They have much better online capabilities. And then you get the portability from the Switch. So like if Sega's going to come out with a system, what is it that they can do that's going to hook people? And that would be my concern because you can't because none of these companies, Atari, Sega, they don't have the money to put out a console that's going to compete with Sony or Xbox. Like
right.
just on power, they're not going to have that. So like, what are you going to bring to the table? And I don't know that there is anything else you could bring to the table.
Right. Yeah, I think if Sega wanted to have an exclusive partnership, that would be one thing, and choosing Microsoft would be interesting. I think that given their beef in the past, I think that they would have wanted to partner with Nintendo maybe.
Yeah.
But
Well, and that's my thing. Twitter, like my Twitter is just like every day somebody's talking about the whole Sega thing and Microsoft thing, and I can't see them walking away from all the money they get from Nintendo for their characters being in Smash games, and you know what I mean. Like,
right.
I can't see them walking away from that. Not only that, they can put all their stuff on Sony right now too. If they did a partnership with Microsoft, you know what I mean. And why would Microsoft want them? Like,
Yeah,
not
I
to
don't
be
know.
dicks here. I'm not trying to be a dick. I love Sega games. I do. But, like, what do they have that Microsoft would be like, yeah, we need that? 2 Point Hospital? They don't need Sonic because that entire franchise is in the crapper with the exception of the movie.
Right.
You got Streets of Rage, but Streets of Rage was sold to Lizard Cube and Dotemu, So, like, what would they want to be exclusive on their system, you know?
I don't know.
Like, what would you get out of Sega? Like, nothing at this point. It's been picked kind of clean.
Yeah, that's true. Like, everything that they had to offer has been just kind of auctioned off. I mean,
Right.
that being said,
I mean, they do have Phantasy Star Online already, and that's
give
really
me a golden axe.
Mm.
Give me a golden axe for the Xbox.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. But
but right now, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a big enough property that they would want to own it exclusively. You just make a deal with them, you put it on Games Pass, you're happy, just like Streets of Rage 4. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Right.
It's not enough to like really like get anybody salivating. But okay, so what was your other one?
Oh, sorry, you caught me mid yawn.
Don't yawn on the show, Neil.
I had
foul.
I had my face turned away and everything, and then I was caught, so I had to cut it off, and it feels weird.
Yeah.
So, just lastly, PlayStation Magazine did a little boo-boo. They accidentally published a bunch of these games that are apparently going to be coming out for the PS5 at some point. Now, we kind of alluded to this earlier, that these games were probably going to be announced at the event that they were going to have on Thursday.
I remember my last one. I'm sorry. Keep going.
You're good. This is my last one.
It's really great to remember.
Keep on to it. Don't forget it.
Hold it in my old arthritic brain. Yes.
So, just some notable ones. Some of them we knew, some of them we didn't. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 2020. Battlefield 6, apparently 2021. Dirt 5, 2020. Some other ones that don't really have any release dates attached to them. Dragon Age 4, Dying Light 2, Gods and Monsters. Then we have Rainbow Six Quarantine and Rainbow Six Siege. Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield. The Sims 5, oddly enough.
Kayla
which would be... Yeah, she and I actually had a conversation about this the other night, and I don't know as if the PlayStation 4 would be the PlayStation 5 would be the definitive way to announce The Sims 5. I think that it would be done at EA's conference, but still interesting enough as it is. And then Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
We knew about that.
We knew about that. Watch
That's the
Dogs
first vampire
Legion.
game I think I've ever wanted to play.
Well, they do have the original one is rolling around out there. It's based off tabletop too, so
I used to play them when I was stupid and young.
But
okay,
outside of that, it's interesting that this list kind of got leaked. But
most of those games are games we already knew about, though. You know,
right?
And there's no special release dates that we like. All of them, like, I don't know. They did do a boo boo, but I didn't think it was that bad. Like, wasn't like there's anything in there that we didn't know about.
What I found mostly interesting about this was the fact that it almost seemed like this was going to be the stuff that was going to be unveiled at that event, and now, especially that it's been pushed back, it kind of takes the wind out of it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so my last one. Playground Games. Stop being a jerk. Okay? Stop it.
Oh.
They put a tease out. They put a tweeter. Oh my god.
Tweeter. The tweeter did a twit.
They done did a twit. They put out a tweet welcoming like 3 new people to their team. You know,
okay.
And it was like, better late than never. We're welcoming these people. And then they said so-and-so and so-and-so to the Forza Motorsports team. And then they said so-and-so and so-and-so to the RPG team. Stop it!
Oh, my God.
We know now. Dude, this tweet, I go out and find it if you can, because, like, that is posted, and then it is just nothing but replies of, like, Fable 4, we know it's Fable 4, just, like, the whole way down the line. Like, it's hysterical. I was just reading it, like, because I was going to post it. And then I was like, I don't need to. This is covered. Like, all sorts of Fable 4 things. Like, just tell us you're working on Fable 4. Just tell us. We know now. Just tell us. What other RPG would a Microsoft first party be working on?
What was it, 2 E3s ago, they alluded to the fact that they were working on it, on a big open world game, and, you know, like, there's just been too much out there. I mean, at this point, I'm going to treat it as it's already been announced, and I'm just waiting to see. Like, seriously, though, like, there's just too much out there. Now, that being said, I think it'll be very disappointing if it comes out that it's some other open world RPG, like a new IP or something.
Well, I'd still play it. Playground has an exemplary track record. I would definitely try it. I think I'd be super bummed if it wasn't Fable, and I think the backlash from the community would be heavy.
Yeah.
If they came out with a game that wasn't Fable at this point. But still, like I don't understand how they did that and didn't think, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they did it on purpose. Like, let's get them pissed about the Fable stuff. Like, they could have just been like, here's 4 people we just hired. You know, they didn't need to say the RPG team, you sons of bitches.
Right.
Okay, well, that's all my odds and ends. You got anything else, or should we move on to Horrible Arena?
No, that's it for me for this week.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That brings us to the main event, the moment you guys have all been waiting for, the Horrible Arena. What is the Horrible Arena for anybody who has not listened? Well, every co-host gets to pitch a video game based on criteria that one of the hosts picks. We alternate from this point on who picks the criteria, and then we give a pitch. We pitch the title, we pitch the developer, and we pitch the game itself. Then you guys, the fans, get to go to the comments, you get to go to the Discord, you get to go wherever, and you get to decide the winners. And then, of course, we will also define what the criteria is from now on at the end of each segment. So you'll have a week to think about what we're thinking about as well. So with that said, the Quantum Coin Toss has been flipped. The criteria was selected by Neil. That criteria is a AAA game in the hands of a developer that was not in a new developer. So you take a AAA game and you switch the developer and pitch what that game would be. So I won the Quantum Coin Toss, so I'm going to go first. And I'm going to just disclaim to everybody, I'm going to lose this one. But this is one that I have to pitch based on principles alone. So, Anthem. Anthem was a disaster. But why was it a disaster? It was a disaster not because the content of the game, not because even the story of the game. It was a disaster because you took a team that had never done games as service. You put them with a engine that they had never used before that is also not conducive with quick updates that would help a games as service, and then you mismanage them to the point of insanity. And that's how we got Anthem, a game with unlimited potential and absolutely no follow-through. So what do? Well, I take Anthem and I give it to Ubisoft. Ubisoft has a great track record with games as service, especially taking a game that is already a nightmare and making it good. You look at successes that they've had that they've brought back up from the ground, such as For Honor, which is still around and going, Rainbow Six Siege. These games started off buggy and wrecked, and they brought them back from the dead to be still in the zeitgeist, still talked about right now. Ubisoft does games as service better than anybody. Have they had their failures? Yes, they definitely have. But they've also had their successes in the Division 2 and the Division 1. So I give Anthem to Ubisoft. I allow Ubisoft to take what they've done with the Division 2 and apply it to Anthem. We get all the awesome play, all the awesome flight and mecha customization that we had in the original, but they could really infuse it with some original guns and some original cool stuff we could see. What they could do with it, they could also keep it going so it wasn't buggy. And they could bring it back. They would be the real Anthem 2.0. They would bring it back from the dead, and we'd be talking about it next year. I promise you that. So that's my pitch. Anthem 2.0 by Ubisoft. I know I'm going to lose because nobody likes Anthem, but I have to pitch it because I want Anthem to be good, even though it's never going to be.
I don't know. I think that would give it a good shot. Plus, Ubisoft has their open world stuff as it is right now. I think that very well could be an okay game.
If Ubisoft developed Anthem, we would be having a very different discussion about Anthem today. I still believe that. I still 100%. But Ubisoft is one of my favorite developers of all time. And I love games as service. And if you want a games as service that's good, you go to Ubisoft. And I'm telling you, Anthem would be a force to be reckoned with. It would have been the Destiny killer that everybody thought it was going to be if Ubisoft had done it, and not BioWare, who had never done a games as service for EA, the worst overlords on Frostbite, the hardest engine to make stuff fast. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a perfect storm of bad for them.
Yeah. So mine is so some people out there may or may not have played Dead Space back in the day. Visceral did a fantastic job with Dead Space and the horror genre as a whole. Honestly, I think that the Dead Space series, at least the first one, should be held up as a reference point for survival horror. They did a very good job with combining that sci-fi space and making it a horror game. I think that Metroid Prime in the hands of Visceral Games would be phenomenal, because Metroid already has that very solid lore to it in regards to all the previous games. There's a timeline, very well-known different types of enemies, and like big bads such as Kraid, Ridley, Mother Brain. You take all of that and put a nice dark horror spin on it, I think that could do great things. Now, that would never ever happen because Nintendo would never let anything like that happen to one of their IPs. But just imagine what could be done with a horror Metroid Prime. I mean, just guts everywhere. You can give it real tension. Metroid Prime, even just being rated T, had some very tense moments, especially in the first one and a little bit in the second and third. But I think that Visceral could take what they had, because unfortunately they're no longer around, and apply that towards Metroid Prime and turn Metroid Prime from just like a hardcore Nintendo IP to an actual dark shooter. And that'll be it.
I have to ask you a question, though. Isn't Visceral closed?
That's what I said. Yeah, Visceral is closed. I mean, this is fantasy stuff. I mean, this is all fake anyway, so in a perfect world, Visceral would
you're right.
be
We did
around.
not predefine any rule that the developer still had to be active. You're right. You're right.
I mean, again,
I was under the
to
impression
EA.
that we had to use a developer that was still active, but you're right. We didn't. We never set that in stone. We've actually suffered from a horrible lack of rules on our favorite game.
You know, actually, it's funny because I now realize that this is low-key EA stop sucking and give your talent to other people. That's our requirement for this week. Because both
Like,
of ours.
We didn't coordinate at all, and somehow we both were like, "Yay, you sucked." Okay, well, that's it, guys. That's the Horrible Arena. You guys can take to all the places and vote, which we will define to you shortly in the shameless self-promotion. But before we get to that, the criteria for next week, Neil, is my choice. I will be on the home field advantage. And
All right.
that home field advantage will be a digital collectible card game in honor of Runeterra. That's right. You've got to come up with a digital collectible card game, sir.
Oh, crap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm very excited because I've got about 40 in my head that I could pitch. But that's it. That's the criteria.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
So that takes us to shameless self-promotion. You got anything to plug there, Neil?
No, sir. Just Streets of Retro, and well, I guess we're also on the OMG Dungeons as well.
That is right, Neil. Well done on remembering both of the things.
Hooray!
OMG Dungeons, just a real quick shout out to that show. We just started it. The episode's up on Saturday. It's a Saturday show. And it's me, Phil, Billy, and a tiny wizard all in Minecraft Dungeons, just kind of making fun of each other and making fun of the game. So it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. So check those out every Saturday. So that brings us to the end. Check us out on Facebook, Old Man Gaming at Old Man Gaming DH, on Twitter at Old Man Gaming 9. Please join our Discord. The link is in the description below, and you can influence any of the shows that you hear on our channel from there. And please, you can request reviews. You can vote on the Horrible Arena here. You could just go there and tell us how much we suck. We're okay with that. Arsenic Steel, I'm looking at you. So with that said and done, as long as you guys do keep watching and listening in whatever fashion you do, we will keep making them. We'll see you guys next week. You got both your legs and one pant leg. Come here.
Yeah, that's skills.
That's skill. She does it all the time. I'm like, how are you that thin?
See, that's the thing, though, is, like, I'm fat and I've done that before. Like, seriously, I've had to catch myself, like, from falling over and hitting my face from just, like, bending over, struggling to put my damn pants on, and then just putting both in at the same time, and, like, oh my God, and then just, like, start to flub around. I've almost ruined, I can't count how many pairs of boxers.
Now,
it's a combination of me being fat and clumsy at the same time. I think I just need like a tuba to follow me around.
I'm totally with you. It's the same thing. I need a tuba as well. And like, or when you like go to pull your underwear up and they just tear, like the underwear quit on me.